My Algorithm Reactions, hosted by me, Freddy Robbins II. Down the rabbit hole we go. Let's see what the feed says up next. Subscribe.
Rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole.
God, we've been together since the earth was beginning to cool, it seems. We came to a point in our career where we decided that there's other things that we wanted to do, other opinions and other sentiments we wanted to express. And basically we found that people, when they saw the name Cheech and Chong, expected a certain image, and we really couldn't break out of that. And we've decided that the only way to express these other things that we wanted to do was do them outside of the confines of Cheech and Chong.
Born in East L.A. is a movie based on a song and video of the same name.
I was reading the story, and that the Springsteen song was on the air at the same time when I started, because I never knew what he was saying in this song except Born in USA. And I started singing Born in East L.A., and it just cracked me up. I said, well, that's funny, maybe I'll write a parody. And the studio called me, and they said, hey, I think there's a movie here. I said, hey, I think you're right. You're absolutely right. That's why you get to be the studio. Basically, the plot is my character, Rudy Robles, goes to pick up his cousin, who's a Mexican national, at a factory. And he walks out of the house without his wallet. In the middle of looking for his cousin, there's an immigration raid. He has no ID, and he looks Mexican, so they deport him. And he tries to get back across the border, keeps getting caught, gets thrown in jail. And eventually he has to get a job and make some money in order to pay a smuggler, a coyote, to smuggle him back across the border.
Cigar, cigarette, passport, okay. You're now Iranian. Your name is Ahmed. Welcome to America, Ahmed.
Gracias.
Cigars, cigarettes, chiclets, candy, cigarettes.
¿Me pasas una green card?
Green card, okay. You're now Fernando Valenzuela. You had 21 wins last year.
Rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Chemtrail streak across the blue, painting lines in the sky where the modification tornadoes, rain, snow and ice. Propaganda on the screens, twisting every word we hear, controlling minds worldwide, force feeding the fear. Memories change overnight, Mandela effect at play. What we thought was real before now suddenly has changed. Flat earth debates, global believers, everybody's on edge. Question everything you know, where does the truth begin? Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole.
You met me at a very strange time in my life.
Rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Outer space looks like a movie, science fiction, big screen, the narrative full of holes. Nothing is all what it seems. Deep state, mind control, puppeteers pull the strings, keep the masses distracted.
What's up, y'all? Yeah, that's a crazy clip right there with Cheech talking about what was to come in 2025 back in 1988. Crazy. But that's what today's episode's about. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe so you see all of our episodes. Our last two was about the Titanic and spellings. And today's episode is going to be about predictive programming, how they put things in movies and TV shows and music before we see it, before it happens. So without any more, let's get right into it. I'm Freddy Robbins. This is the Basement Maybe Podcast, and these are my algorithm reactions.
How Varians cast a spell on the world. And,
for real?
Oh, absolutely. It's just like how vampires can't go into a house unless they're invited. They tell you, what's going on ahead of time. It's predictive programming. And once you say it out loud and you put it out there and make fun of it and do a little skit like Stephen Colbert did a little skit on his show where, oh, here's a baby. I'm going to take this baby and I'm going to give it to Moloch. And he goes into like a cloudy red, furnace and hands the baby over. And he's, oh, the baby's going to be fine. And they make a joke about it and the audience laughs. Okay, we're all now conditioned to it. We've all seen it. And by laughing at it,
wait a minute.
we were complicit.
You think that that's on purpose, that this is like some sort of a grand design to get us to be desensitized to the idea of demons eating babies?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
For sure. And
who do you
by the
think-
way,
but
nobody's doing anything about it. We know what's happening.
But that has to take, like, there has to be a person or some group of people.
Yeah, like about
that
about 8,500 people. Yeah.
That are manipulating the Colbert Show?
They're manipulating everything. It's all an illusion. Like, reality as we know it is fake. That's the revelation that guy is having. And he's looking around and he's like, it's like Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Well, see, I don't, the thing about the emails is, one of the things is it's just stuff written down. And so that's sort of hard to digest. Like, what is this? Like, what are they saying? Like, some of it is in code, like walking over beef jerky, like talking about jerky. Could you walk beef jerky over to this person? Like, what does that mean?
For all this pizza they're talking about,
Right.
you never see any pizza.
Right. Yeah. They're ordering pizza.
I'm gonna get some grape soda. It's like with my cheese pizza.
Yeah.
And like, there's all this coded language, and everyone's like, oh, that's you just have pareola. You're just seeing things where you want to see them.
No, this is clearly a code. Well, that was the thing about
it's
Pizzagate.
Absolutely a code, and in fact, mundus vult decepi, ergo decipiatur. It's a long-known concept, and so in Latin, mundus vult decepi means the world wants to be deceived. Ergo decipiatur. Therefore, it is. We want to be deceived. We don't want to believe the horrors that are actually behind the veil.
Well, I think with the Epstein files, people are, because of these emails that have been released, people are just now starting to be aware of the bizarreness of the code and some of the things, like the facts. Like, let's just talk.
Yeah. Signs and symbols will be their downfall, man. And that Pizzagate stuff, that people like me and among others were trying to tell people, and nobody wanted to hear it. You're just a crazy tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. That's craziness. Don't forget to check out the tinfoilhatcompany.com. But make sure you go like and subscribe to them too. The tinfoilhatfactory.com. I think I'm going to subscribe them on this episode. Or not subscribe them, sponsor them. Give them a free shout out on this episode. So, yeah, head on over to them, check them out. The tinfoilhatfactory.com. We're going to,
Tinfoil hat fact of the day. EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. They're everywhere. Whether you want to believe it or not, they're real and they're affecting your health. So we at the Tinfoil Hat Factory have a hat that will protect your head. Definitely hit us up. Get one, get 10, get them for your whole family. And if you don't know what EMFs are, I suggest you look into that and learn how to protect yourself and your family and your health. It's important. Bye.
I'm going to consider that a sponsor break, and we're going to get back into some videos. And yeah, just pay attention. If this is all for entertainment purposes, but if you want question any of this stuff and don't believe it, that's fine. Look into it. See if it's true. Prove me wrong. Leave something in the comments. Show me otherwise. I'm not against debates, but if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong too.
You ever notice how movies predict everything years before it happens?
Predict? Bro, they just entertain.
Nah, my lazy offspring. They prepare you. First they show it on a screen. So when it happens in real life, you say, I've seen this in a movie.
Like desensitizing?
Exactly. In the 90s, everyone laughed at movies about total surveillance. Big Brother, cameras everywhere. Sci-fi, right? Then smartphones came. Face ID, always on microphones. And by 2020, governments requested 237,000 plus data grabs from big tech per year. That's not protection. That's surveillance turning into customer service.
bro. What?
Chris, that's not a number. That's a damn harvest. Remember when movies joked about lockdowns, QR passports, global outbreaks, and people said, haha, that's just like that movie. And while they laughed, behavior was already rehearsed.
So when it happened, people didn't freak out because fiction made it feel familiar?
Exactly, kid. Shock becomes comfort when you see it enough times. For 20 years, movies told you AI would replace humans. Make art, talk, think, write. Everyone treated it like a fairy tale. Now half the internet is bots. AI comments talk to AI posts, and people still say, nah, bro, that's just like in those movies, not real.
So movies made people doubt reality by comparing it to fiction?
Bingo! Listen up, Morty and Chris. In 2012, the Pentagon literally said, wait, future wars will be algorithmic. Nobody cared. Now, drones fighting drones, AI choosing targets, zero emotion, zero hesitation.
Dude, if fiction feels safer than reality, we're screwed, right?
But you finally get it.
Predictability makes society easier to manage. If you can't distinguish fiction from reality, you won't resist either one.
And if they show you the future as entertainment, then when it arrives, you won't call it control. You'll call it familiar.
So they don't predict disasters. They normalize them.
Exactly. They didn't predict your future. They rehearsed your compliance.
An illusion.
Predictive Programming.
I'm out here.
Crazy. I'm crazy.
One of my favorite films that I saw when I was 18 years old was The Magus.
The Magus.
The Magus stars Anthony Quinn, Michael Caine, and Candice Bergen. I think was probably her first role. 1968. It's based on the novel by John Fowles. It was a very big novel at the time, a bestseller. Okay. Anthony Quinn plays this mysterious person living on an island in Greece. Michael Caine is a British school teacher. He's just dumped his girlfriend, who's an air hostess or something. And now he's trying to find himself or whatever. He's a sort of an arrogant, closed-off, cold person. And he's a school teacher on this island in Greece. But the mysterious person, played by Anthony Quinn, invites him to his house. And in his house, there's a temple to Poseidon. And that temple to Poseidon, you see it briefly from a distance. Mostly you're inside, right? It's in the interior, where you see the Poseidon statue. But there is a shot from a distance. And my God, if that temple of Poseidon is not a replica of the one on Epstein's Island.
Really?
And that would freak me out a little bit more.
What's the name of this movie?
The Magus, M-A-G-U-S.
The M-A-G-U-S.
The Magus, that's it. There's Anthony Quinn, yeah.
Okay, find the temple, Poseidon temple from the Magus film. See if you can find that.
So I just watched this recently again. And with the Epstein files fresh in my mind, now I'm looking at this a completely different way.
Yeah.
There is one room in that house in the movie where it's a nice room, but there's all these masks on the wall. Remember the room in Epstein's place? He has all these masks, these heads on the wall, just regular like heads all over the place. And there was a duplicate of that, in the movie The Magus. And I started to wonder, because there's this association with occultism in the film, there's the association with a very wealthy guy controlling the lives of people, playing them as puppets, manipulating them. You have to see the film or read the book to understand what I mean. But Anthony Quinn is like a master manipulator in this, right?
Wow.
But he has a temple of Poseidon, and he has all those heads on the wall, and he's manipulating people who are there. He's supposedly already dead, but he's not. His grave is there, right? They take him to meet his grave, and then he comes and sees the guy. The guy was supposed to have died in the 40s, and there he is in present day, which is 1968, I guess. So all of this is going on. I mean, all these connections are being made with this film. I'm not saying that Epstein saw the movie and said, I want to be Anthony Quinn, because he would have done a better job, I think. But what I'm saying is that these events ripple out. Okay, the synchronicities that take place are just the surface trace elements of something deeper that's taking place in reality.
Predictive programming isn't about predicting the future. It's about rehearsing it. Long before events unfold in the real world, they're introduced through movies, television, games, and media framed as fiction. Not to warn you, but to familiarize you. When the mind sees an idea repeatedly, it stops questioning it. What once felt impossible becomes plausible. What becomes plausible eventually feels normal. And what feels normal no longer triggers resistance. This is why major shifts are almost always preceded by years of entertainment that mirrors them. Global crises, mass surveillance, artificial intelligence replacing human roles, digital identities overtaking physical ones, all presented first as stories. Your subconscious doesn't distinguish between reality and repetition. It only learns patterns. So when these events manifest in the real world, they don't feel shocking. They feel familiar. The mind responds with recognition instead of rejection. Acceptance replaces resistance before a choice is ever consciously made. Predictive programming works because familiarity creates permission. Once something is accepted mentally, it can be implemented physically, not through force, but through conditioning. The real question isn't whether predictive programming exists, it's how much of your perception has already been shaped by it, and whether the future you expect was ever truly your own idea to begin with.
Yeah, I mean, how much of things did you watch portray what happens? 9/11. They've done a lot of stuff, man. They've done some predictive programming with a lot of things. We're gonna keep getting into it. This is just the beginning. If you got any ideas, make sure you leave it in the comments below, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share this to get this in the algorithm. Subscribe. Thanks, Fred the Rabbit. I told him to subscribe. All right, back to it.
Let's go back to 10 years old, 12 years old. Everybody has an influence, right? For me, my mother's family, they were all communists. My dad's family, they were imperialists. For you to be this much of a true believer, what was the conversations like at the kitchen table with mom and dad? What did you guys talk about?
Well, there was full mobilization in the Cold War across the country, but particularly places like Texas and in the South. And so, I mean, I would go to family reunions, and it was like a Soldier of Fortune convention. And so a lot of the family had been, obviously in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and a lot of them had been, operatives in the CIA and things like that. But to me, you're a kid, and when the family reunion's going on, I'm just, getting on a four-wheeler and, taking a shotgun off and shooting birds. I'm not, hanging out with all these old men. And then a lot of family on my dad's side that had done stuff for the government in operations, not just around the world, but here. Because back then it was all human intelligence. By the 90s it went to digital stuff, but before that you had to have a lot of muscle on the ground, a lot of people. People that don't know, the Army, all over the world, but also in the U.S. would go around and kill people. It was like extrajudicial. Senators would sign off on letters, and then they'd send usually Army officers off to kill people. So like when you see the movie, what's that movie with all the great actors, Apocalypse Now, where they have the Army captain and then they're sending him to kill Colonel Kurtz. That's a fictional story, but that's actually how it works. Right. The biggest hitman group in the United States or the world would be like Army officers. Like that, think like, the Italian mafia's got 100 hitmen. Well, they got 10,000 hitmen. So, and then my dad had a guy he called, like his uncle, but really just a cousin, 10 years older, that lived across the street. And he only told my dad about this later stuff, but that was one of his jobs. And then my mom's brother, had been an Army officer, and he was involved in Iran-Contra and a bunch of black ops. But he was involved in being in charge of things, building airfields in Central and South America. And so he was the one that really told me about all this stuff. And then my dad had got recruited into the academic arm of this stuff. It was like above the CIA in like Plan 2 at University of Texas when he was like 14, 15. He was already going to University of Texas because he was winning all these awards and had top perfect score. And his mom thought he was going to, when he was like 14, to take tests to be in NASA and Eisenhower's Whiz Kid program, but it wasn't a Whiz Kid program to be in NASA. And so my dad got into that for a while. He never told me what he did, and he decided to get out of it and just be a doctor at a certain point. But the house was just full of all those Zbigniew Brzezinski books and Henry Kissinger stuff and just world politics and just military manuals and just stuff everywhere. And my dad was just always voracious at reading. And so I just grew up basically around all this stuff. And it was particularly my mom's brother, who died about 9 years ago, a really smart guy, who got out of it. And then when he was dying of pneumonia, last time I saw him, I thought he was going to live, and he was dead a week later. He just said, well, I want you to know the stuff about them trafficking kids is true, and that's why I got out of what I was doing in Central America, because you know, they were smuggling kids out of orphanages and doing terrible things with them, and we just knew about it.
This is your mom's brother, Uncle
My mom's brother.
Yeah.
And of course, remember, this is 9 years ago, before all the migrant crisis and the kids and the current smuggling. He was seeing it down there, and he said he and a bunch of his guys got out of it. Some of the guys he was with, the government killed.
And what was his background, your uncle?
He was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam. Okay. And mainly delivered special forces troops into Laos and places. And he worked for him. You know, my mom doesn't like me telling this stuff because he told her about it, didn't tell me. And she says, you know, it's embarrassing the family. But you know, he was doing whatever he's told in Vietnam, and it was smuggling opium.
Your mom and dad, when they saw you when you first got into, you've been in the space of InfoWars, in which you've been doing for how long? 30 years, 28 years, 25 years?
29 years.
29 years. Okay. So when you first got in,
I was 20 years old.
You were 20 years old. Okay. So what was their initial reaction to it? Was it like, Alex, what are you doing? And there was we believe in you. We agree with you. You're talking too much. Relax. You're going overboard. What was their reaction to this when you first got started?
My dad, for the first 5, 6, 7 years, was just sometimes say, you need to be careful what you're doing, and you could get killed doing this. And one time he said, I can have you talk to some people and get you out of this right now. And I said, the government's bad. He said, they are bad. They got to do bad things to protect this country. They're in charge because they're smart, and they're smarter than us.
What a thing to say.
And yeah.
They got to do bad things to protect the country.
Yeah. And well, you know, because there's bad guys, and so we have
totally get it.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
And we have to fill the place of the bad guys so they don't control that space. Okay, you understand?
We got to fill the space of the bad guys so they don't control that space.
Yes, that's all Zbigniew Brzezinski, Harvard's, you know, Straussian, injustifies the mean stuff. This is really the philosophy there, but they're really the bad guys. And then about 6 years into it, my dad came and apologized. He said, "No, you're right," and because the system wasn't that bad, you know, as on the surface 25 years ago.
Yeah.
But then he was, "No, you're right," and like his cousin, you know, would do stuff like, I'd be over there for coffee like once or twice a year, and he'd go, "Yeah, I've been reading some of the stuff you're doing. You better be careful. They're gonna kill your ass." And I didn't even know at that time that's what he did. I mean, I'm sitting there with an Army officer that, you know.
So let me. I'm trying to get the dates right here, because 29 years ago. Let's go back to 10 years old.
Because I read the script. Alex Jones. A lot of people think he's a COINTELPRO, man. Playing the part where he tells a little bit of truth and then puts out a bunch of BS to get you desensitized to it. So, I don't know. That's an interesting story, though. A bunch of his kinfolk are from the CIA, and he was familiar with it, and hey, that's Alex Jones for you, so see what Jack Black says.
Because I read the script, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Kevin Hart were already attached, and I was like, these characters are jumping off the page. And my role, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to play the most popular girl in high school. For some reason, I know how to play that. And then it was such a hit. It was way bigger than I even anticipated. And now, I think we're going to make part 2. I think you have to. I think you, have to. They kill you if you try to walk away. And they clone you. And they clone you. Because I read the script.
Predictive Programming in Cartoons Part 2.
The Legion of Doom is about to begin its reign of terror.
And a 9/11 emergency surgical kit with working stethoscope.
Gangway! Oh. For your information, it was rich in symbolism.
It was rich in boring me to death.
Oh, yeah? Well, you're stupid.
No, you're stupid.
Well, you're stupider.
No, you're...
classified warplane sighted heading for New York City.
Our detection system shows nothing. Mayday! Mayday! New York is under attack! Intercept and destroy!
A force field is shielding the warplane. It's getting through.
It's time. We will now strike at the heart of American defense and destroy the Pentagon with one swift and deadly blow.
Slim, remember those Twin Towers?
Yeah, what about them?
I don't think they're gonna be so tall anymore.
Oh, no.
Hey, that's crazy. They've shown us a bunch of times where they was toppling the Twin Towers when we was kids. Yeah, if you was the 80s and 90s, baby, you was watching all them cartoons growing up, seeing that. It was desensitizing us to it before it happened. And then it showed us at school all day long when it happened. Before the second plane even hit, they made sure the TV was on in every single classroom. Let me know where you was September 11, 2001, if you're old enough to remember. I was 16 years old in science class at Springfield High School. We're going to keep getting into it. In 1994, he exposes their entire system and predicted 2026 perfectly. Let's see what he says. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Woo!
Thanks.
Subscribe!
Conclusions that I have come to. And I want to tell you that one of the biggest things I discovered in my work was the existence of a supranational committee composed of 300 men called the Committee of 300, also known in intelligence circles as the Olympians.
300 people you've never heard of. They don't hold office, they don't give speeches, they don't campaign, they don't need your vote. And he's not talking about the secret societies you've heard 100 times. This is what the headlines never touch.
This is the committee that runs the world. Now, in my book, The Committee of 300, I name every one of them. This is not a book that talks about they. It gives you specifics.
Now, this is one of those videos that rarely stays visible for long. But what you're about to watch will explain a lot of the strange things happening in the world right now. So, let's get right into it.
Who and what is the Committee of 300? Well, I've dealt with that. I've told you this is a supranational body that knows no boundaries, respects the laws of no countries. The first time that they were publicly announced was by a German socialist by the name of Walter Rathenau. Now, the first time that they were publicly announced was by a German socialist by the name of Walter Rathenau. I'll give you some background of Walter Rathenau. He was the financial advisor to the Kaiser of Germany, and he was also the financial advisor to the Rothschilds, the French family Rothschild. So he must have known what he's talking about. He made an astonishing statement in 1934. He said, there is a committee of 300 men that rule the world. They are known only to each other, and nothing happens without their consent.
This isn't about symbols, or handshakes, or a club everyone already suspects. This is the top of the chain. At least that's his claim. The structure nobody sees. And as this man will explain, every organization has its place. They all fit into a hierarchy. But at the very top, 300 people. Pay attention to this part.
I came across this quite by accident when I was serving in Africa in Angola, and I was given a series of documents which were only supposed to be handed in to top-level people. They were what we call above the top level of classification of intelligence documents, and there I discovered that whilst I thought I was in Africa fighting against the invasion of the communists, I was in fact fighting to introduce socialist regimes in the black African countries, and that I was actually working for a committee called the Committee of 300, also known in intelligence circles as the Olympians.
This isn't someone guessing from the sidelines. He's describing a moment where the story didn't match the mission. He thought he was fighting one enemy. Then he claims he realized he was building something else entirely. And that raised a different kind of question. Not who's in charge, but how high the chain really goes. His name is Dr. John Coleman, and he frames this as a 25-year-old investigation shaped by intelligence-level access. Let's keep going.
In 1986, I wrote a work called Mind Control, Metaphysics, Extremely Low Frequency Radiation and Weather Modifications. And in that work, July the 8th, 1986, I said that the top-level intelligence organization in the United States was the National Reconnaissance Office, far bigger than the CIA and any of the other intelligence agencies. And by the way, we have about 10 different ones in the United States. I even have the audacity to give the address of this organization. 3 weeks ago, Mr. Sam Donaldson, the gentleman who wears that beautiful turquoise so effectively, he came on with the program in prime time, and he said, this is one of the biggest scoops that ABC has ever had. And he told about the National Reconnaissance Organization. The exact same thing that I published 8 years earlier. I tell you this to set the stage so that you'll understand I do have some experience and that I know that of which I speak.
So here's what he's doing. He's not just making a claim. He's planting a marker in time. 1986. And he says he named the organization before the public was even supposed to know it existed. Because once you understand that layer exists, you stop thinking intelligence is just spies in meetings. It's reach. It's visibility. It's who gets to see the world first and who reacts second. And if a system like that sits above the usual...
Yeah, how high does it go, man? And who's controlling it at the top? Of this world, it's evil, it's Satan. But of earth and heaven, it's God, the Creator. And the only way to get to Him is through His Son, Jesus Christ. That's it. We're going to take a break from our sponsor and we'll be right back.
Tinfoil hat fact of the day. EMFs, electromagnetic frequencies. They're everywhere. Whether you want to believe it or not, they're real and they're affecting your health. So we at the Tinfoil Hat Factory have a hat that will protect your head. Definitely hit us up. Get one, get 10, get them for your whole family. And if you don't know what EMFs are, I suggest you look into that and learn how to protect yourself and your family and your health. It's important. Bye.
If you like this kind of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.
Woo!
We're going to get right back into the videos. We'll interact some in the comments if you guys leave some.
1991, TetraStar video game. 1992, King of Monsters video game. 1988, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 2, Episode 7.
Bad news, Master Splinter. Shredder is up to something, but he ran off before we could discover what.
All we know is it had something to do with the Twin Towers.
Sooner or later, he will reveal his plan. Like, what do you suppose Shredder's up to this time? Michelangelo, you heard April's message. He's been spotted on the roof of the World Trade Center.
It's for sure he's not there for the view.
Hey! Hang on! We're gonna crash!
1, Spider-Man comic.
I'm curious to see if you're smart enough to figure this one out. So we got Foghorn Leghorn dancing around, showing this little scientific kid the art of Indian rainmaking, right? And then look, this little guy, after reading his book, he starts putting a little airplane together, and look what he puts inside of it. Yeah. Sends it up, right? It goes over, and what do you know? Beep. And all of a sudden, Foghorn Leghorn's like, "Where's your storm? Where?" Oh, and then all of a sudden, boom. This is an old cartoon we watched as kids. Just in case you missed it, yeah. I'll just leave this here. Go show this account some love, by the way. Makes you wonder, what else could they have told us throughout old cartoons from our childhood? Now, that document that was shown earlier, that's an interesting read to understand exactly why this little cartoon is so peculiar.
That was Looney Tunes. Now we're getting into The Simpsons. 3D printed food. It hasn't came yet, but oh yeah, they have been 3D printing some food. That's right. So what do you think? Did Simpsons predict it? I remember them having VR food back in the day, but 3D printed. The VR food we still haven't got. I mean, scratch and sniff stickers, but them's been around. But 3D printed food, that's a trip. Let's see what The Simpsons has to predict.
There's some pretty crazy predictive programming I just found out about. I'm sure there are others who aren't aware of this one, so I'm going to share. The 1977 song Crack in the World by Sammy Hagar. This gets wild, but first let me point out, a crush in between, there's a thin, thin line. But just around the corner, there's a change in design. Just 50 more years, we're all going to know why, when, where, how, and who gets to go. So let's all have a good time before the great divide, because things will start separating come 2025. So look for the subtle clues. It won't make front page news, which it doesn't. Sometimes we have to look deeper. Let's start by seeing what happens if we mirror the cover art for this song, and then connect the dots. Go figure. There was also a movie in 1965 called Crack in the World. Thank God it's only a motion picture, or is it? And the reason it's so crazy to mention 2025 and 1977, because it was also referenced in 1988 in the movie They Live, which just so happens to be a movie that I view more as a documentary. And of course the one-eye symbolism.
Yeah, let me know if you guys are ever seen They Live or any of them other movies or listened to that song before. Predictive programming, man. They do it in everything. They try to. Your eyes and ears are portals. Be careful what you're putting into it. Let's see what this guy's talking about. I believe this is about the ceremony back in 2018 for the Olympics that predicted 2020, if I'm not mistaken.
Examples of predictive programming ever broadcast on live TV. This was the 2012 London Olympics opening ceremony. Millions watched it, but almost no one questioned it. On the field, there were children in hospital beds. Around them, doctors and nurses dancing like zombies. And towering over everything, a giant figure of death holding a needle. At the time, people were told it symbolized the UK's healthcare system. Just art, just creativity, nothing deeper. But it gets real uncomfortable real fast, because years later the world faced global lockdowns, mass medical mandates, empty stadiums, and needle-based solutions pushed on planetary scale. But suddenly that ceremony didn't feel abstract anymore. Predictive programming is the idea that powerful institutions show you the future in advance, so when it happens, your mind accepts it faster. Not as a shock, but as something familiar. So the question isn't what did it mean back then, the question is, why did it look so much like what came next? Say weird. Let me show you one of the...
Okay, you are looking at the bridge from Terminator 2 Judgment Day when they come flying off of it in the transport truck, boom, lands in the culvert. It was an iconic moment and many people remember it. But there's something in this clip when it first was released that nobody noticed. We're talking about something hidden in plain sight that your subconscious mind picks up on, but your conscious mind doesn't even notice it. And by the way, Terminator 2, machines trying to enslave and destroy humanity. I wonder if this is hiding anything in plain sight for what the plan is now. So look at this. These bridges were not designed for any traffic underneath them. Therefore, per California law, they don't put clearances, height clearances, on these bridges because no one's supposed to be driving under them. Yet in Terminator, they happen to put a clearance notice of 9 feet 11 inches, 9/11. Keep in mind this movie came out in 1991. So we're talking about some producer or someone in the development team making this movie who wanted to put 9/11 as a clearance number on something that there doesn't need clearance on because no one's supposed to be driving under it. Absolutely shocking. And furthermore, this isn't the first movie that says something about 9/11. If you remember, The Patriot, Mel Gibson, at 3 minutes and 33 seconds into The Patriot, Mel Gibson is trying to make this rocking chair. He hangs it from a scale hanging from a board, and he says, 9 pounds, 11 ounces. Perfect. Something's going on with Hollywood, man. We're going to discuss more about this in a deep dive on my Rumble channel. If you want to tune in, click the link in my bio or comment Rumble below and I'll send you a link to it. It's a free speech platform, free to download, free to watch.
Is it all just coincidence, man? I don't know. Let me know down below in the comments what you think. Here's some more cartoons.
Before signing up, you boys ought to try a little taste of Dr. Ism's formula to see what you'd get in exchange for your freedom. Go ahead, try it.
You can't do this to me! I'll strike!
The state forbids strikes.
Wait till the union hears about this!
Ah, yes, the union. Welcome to our ranks, number 1313.
I'll take this case to the Supreme Court.
The state is the Supreme Court. Our decision is as follows. No more private property. No more you.
The farm voted put a stop to this.
Farmers don't vote anymore.
What'll they do for seed next year?
You won't have to worry about next year. The state will do your planning from now on.
We must fight to regain our freedom, or everything is lost. Everything!
Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine.
When anybody preaches disunity, tries to pit one of us against the other through class warfare, race hatred, or religious intolerance, you know that person seeks to rob us of our freedom and destroy our very lives. And we know what to do about it.
Now, gentlemen, no violence, please. Don't throw those bottles. Don't throw those bottles! No! Oh, no! No! Hey! Oh, no! Hey!
Working together to produce an ever greater abundance of material and spiritual values for all. That is the secret of American prosperity.
The real matrix is conditioning. It's made of invisible mental code, written through repetition, fear, and social reward. From the moment we're born, our brains are programmed to seek approval, follow rules, and avoid discomfort. Neuroscience calls this predictive processing. Your brain doesn't see reality directly. It predicts it based on past experiences. That means most of what you perceive isn't truth. It's memory, habit, and expectation. The system isn't mystical. It's biological. It's the feedback loop between the amygdala fear, the prefrontal cortex logic, and the reward circuits that crave safety and validation. The more you conform to what feels safe, even if it's limiting, the stronger the loop becomes. Over time, your nervous system learns to equate obedience with survival. That's why rebellion feels dangerous even when it's necessary. The real darkness isn't external control. It's internalized control. It's the silent voice that says, don't stand out, don't question, or don't risk being wrong. Those thoughts aren't yours. They're the system's attempt to preserve its own order through you. Psychologically, this is how fear maintains hierarchy, by convincing you that uncertainty equals threat. But uncertainty is actually freedom, because it's the space where your brain stops recycling its predictions and starts perceiving again. Escaping the matrix, then, isn't about fighting power structures. It's about rewiring your predictive mind. Every time you challenge an old belief, every time you act despite fear, every time you choose curiosity over control, you break one more piece of the code. The system feeds on fear, doubt, and lack, but it starves in the presence of awareness. Because awareness doesn't fight the matrix, it renders it obsolete.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's predictive programming for you. Hopefully that last one resonates with you. Let that be the predictive part for your programming this week. With that being said, I'm going to read Billy Graham's Hope for Each Day, Words of Wisdom and Faith. This one's called Live for the Lord. My days are swifter than a weaver's shuttle. Job 7:6. In North Carolina, I have visited the textile mills and have watched the giant looms that turn out cloth for the nation. The shuttles move with the speed of lightning, scarcely visible to the naked eye. Job said that his days were swifter than a weaver's shuttle. Life passes so quickly, it is almost over before we realize it. The Bible says this is the chronological of eternity. This is the chronology of eternity. Though you live to be 70, 80, 90 years old, that is but a snap of the finger compared to eternity. Put your hand on your heart and feel it beat. It is saying, quick, quick, quick. We have only a few brief years at the most. Let's live them for the Lord. Amen. Hope for today. Christ knew that his days on earth were few. He had a mission to accomplish, and he wouldn't be distracted. We should live with the same determination and focus, whether we have 30 or 100 years. Let's not waste a single moment. Amen. So if you want to do something, get out there and do it. Me, I'm taking challenges for the BMW Championship all spring and summer long. Go register at basementmadeonlinestore.com. Type in hashtag BMWO Open Championship Challenge. Find out how to challenge, and let's get to it. This has been Basement Made Podcast. These are my algorithm reactions. I'm your host, Freddy Robbins, and until next time, peace.
Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. across the blue, painting lines in the sky where the modification tornadoes, rain, snow and ice. Propaganda on the screens, twisting every word we hear, controlling minds worldwide, force feeding the fear. Memories change overnight, Mandela effect at play. What we thought was real before now suddenly has changed. Flat earth debates, global believers, everybody's on edge. Question everything you know. Where does the truth begin? Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Outer space looks like a movie, science fiction, big screen, a narrative full of holes. Nothing is all what it seems. Deep state, mind control, puppeteers pull the strings, keep the masses distracted with unattainable dreams. Hollow earth below our feet, secrets buried so deep. UFOs in the clouds, or is it Project Bluebeam? Pharmacy, a spell cast, keep you wrapped in chains. Thoughts creeping in silence, hijacking your brain. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole we go, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole, rabbit hole. Down the rabbit hole. 'Cause it's a very, very mad world. Enlarging your world, mad world.